Could just be weightless if you were in the very center, wouldn't you?
The floor would still move.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Oops, I've missed my mark. Here it is. Spud, please. Since Renee's not here, yeah, exactly. That's cool. It's to be expected now. I've even got an emote that says Spud, please. I can't escape it now. Yeah. I'd probably have to do some sweet talking with Nintendo for that to happen. I probably will get like a Spud waifu or something at some point. But since I've already got Spud approves, I'll probably do Spud waifu as Rocket doing this. We'll see. I've got to get more. I've got to get a few more slots yet. So because of this event, I've been doing a lot of practice and a lot of sort of lower viewer stuff. So once I get back into it, I'll be doing sort of my more popular things like the Final Fantasy challenge runs and stuff like that. And I should be able to pump up the viewer count for a little bit. Yeah, all the Twitch bucks. I've almost paid for the Elgato. I bought an Elgato once I got a partner, because I always said, you know, if I got a partner, I'd like improve the quality of my stream as good as I can, because I've got an 800k uplink to work with for streaming at home. So there's only so much I can do, but one of the things was to get a digital capture card. And so far the subs have very generously provided about half the money for that. And with a couple more subscription months, I think that'll be completely paid off. And I'll probably start thinking about putting money towards a streaming computer. Alright, so this is the second grand stuff. I didn't really say anything during the first grand stuff, but there's not really much to say. I don't pick up anything except that power drink in the first one, even that's pretty optional. This is basically the same. I've just got to get to the end and fight a couple of bosses.
This really makes me think of James Bond musically.
Yeah?
It really does, eh? I never really made that connection before, but you're right. Yeah.
Well,
there's not really like any distinctively short people, but like Mac looks like he should be. What?
I said thank you.
well, I suppose you could hand.
I didn't say on the couch.
I suppose you could hand one of the children in your party a
Yeah,
bowler
yeah.
hat.
Yeah, that'd work. there are actually I was almost thinking about putting these in as donation incentives, but I didn't have enough time to learn exactly where they all are. But there are actually accessories that you can pick up in this game that have a visual effect. It just so happens that the speedrun doesn't pick up any of them. There's like a pair of little ears and stuff that you can get. There's like glasses you can put on. And they show up during cutscenes and everything, so I was pretty tempted to put that in, but the problem is that like it's really awkward because everyone needs to have all of these other accessories equipped on them to learn at certain points. So I would have had to sort of route around getting all these items. I really wanted to put the ears and the treasure glasses on someone though, because the treasure glasses look great in the final cutscene, because like you have this like really serious full-on cutscene. You know, with people dying and all that, and there's just this dude chilling with like basically sunglasses on. It's like not giving a damn about anything. Yeah, people die in the final cutscene. Spoilers. Yeah. Another little puzzle thing here. I've got to hit that button and then push all of these button things in. There's 4 of them, and yeah, they're just sort of a little bit out of the way. And then we're basically to the next couple of bosses. The next 2 bosses are basically one after another.
Maybe next time.
really weird buttons. Like you've got to, like on disc 3, you've got to push all these crates and stuff around, and they have the same mechanic as those, but they're just buttons. So I don't know why they just didn't make them so that you push them and you press A on them and then they work. It would actually push forward a little bit to make them go. Oh yeah, the hitboxes in this thing are. Yeah. Yes, exactly, and like.
You're God now, eh?
Yes. Yeah, the hitboxes in this are terrible, and like here it isn't actually quite as bad. It's pretty bad here, but it's not really bad. The ones in the ancient ruins that I did at the start of this disc are the worst, because you got to push these pillars, and you have to be standing directly in front of them, standing perfectly still before it'll even consider the idea of even bringing up the prompt to let you actually press them. These ones you can at least like run in front of, and they'll behave themselves usually. So you can sort of just like shirk sort of around to the side of them. But the pillars, they don't take any crap from anyone. They demand absolute perfection. Yeah, on disc 2 I had to do a little mini game, or a little puzzle thing, where I had to put these plates in the floor, and the hitbox for those, like you'd think you'd stand on top of the plate and press A, but that's not it. You have to like approach them from the bottom, from the southern end, and if you don't do that, like you'll stand on top of them and you won't even get a prompt. It's like, yeah, it's sort of, the hitbox is like in front of them. It's really weird, and it took me ages to work out what was going on, because I used to like run around like an idiot on those things. Why isn't it going? And then like you'd run, because they're all so close together, you keep running around, and you find out that like, you finally get it to work, and the prompt comes up and you go, which one did I hit? And yeah, it's really horrible the way that the hitboxes are. Even the ladders can be a bit of a pain in the butt sometimes. But, anyway, after running it so many times, I've gotten the hang of most of them, but a lot of them are just still bad.
So we have another donation here, if it's an okay time.
Yep.
$50 from one of my stream regulars, Chess Jerk, whom for years I mispronounced his name as Cheese Jerk, thinking he was someone who stole cheese.
Nice.
And it finally took someone years to correct me. Just because I'm an overly polite Canadian doesn't mean you all have to be overly polite to me. But Chess Jerk writes, "Hello everyone, loving the runs so far. I see that no one has suggested a name for the main character in Final Fantasy Mystic Quest yet, one of my favorite early Final Fantasy games. So I would like to apply my donation to naming him Chess Jerk." I would have gone with Cheese Jerk. Keep up all the good work. No, I don't. Oh, right. Yes, thank you, Villagin. Just reminded me. I feel so remiss. Yes, Chess Jerk was originally supposed to come here, but then, well, I was about to go with Mrs. Jerk. I'm gonna go with something different. Mrs. Chess got pregnant, and they are expecting very soon now, isn't it? I don't remember, but huge congratulations from all of us.
Yes, congratulations.
Made myself paranoid again. I'm like 90% sure I put fireproof on, but I'm gonna check again. Oh, if I can not fail at menuing. Okay, we're good. Let's go. Ah! I said let's go, said. Stop ignoring me. Now, I've always had this like gree thing here where like, I would always put one of the physical attackers and one of the casters in each of the groups. It really doesn't make any difference whatsoever, but it's taken me until about 2 runs ago to like throw this thing away, because I don't have to change anything there, and it wastes time to change it, but it's always terrifying for me to do this the fast way. even though it makes no difference whatsoever. I was just expecting one day I'm going to realize why I did that in the first place. Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. So basically, these guys, this is a really interesting fight actually. It's basically going to wind up to be me throwing bombs at them again, but the way this fight works is that I've got to kill them both on the same turn. So these guys are going first, and then there'll be my second turn will be taken by the second party. And the second party needs to, if I kill this one on this turn, for example, I would have to kill it on the next turn for the second boss. Otherwise, it's an instant game over. Bombs are a really steady source of damage. They don't do a huge amount of damage to these guys because they've got a ludicrously high magic defense. But I can keep the damage pretty consistent by just throwing bombs. Gamble actually does a lot of damage on this, but you don't want to use Gamble on this fight, or you'll end up having, one with like 100 million health and one with 0. So you got to be pretty careful with how you do this. Otherwise, it's pretty easy, but I have to be really careful about menuing, because if I make a mistake and skip a character's turn or something by accident, then the whole synchronization thing will be thrown out of whack, and then I'll have to basically wing this fight, which is definitely not what I want. This is another one of those fights that has a really long checkpoint as well, if I recall. I think I have died to this fight like once, and I'm pretty sure it takes you back to the start of the grand stuff. The other little mechanic in this is the adjust output mechanic. Basically, you can adjust output in one of these 2 turns, and that'll stop them from getting a heal from that little thing behind them. Basically, all I have to worry about is that I choose wait on the first one, and then I can hold down A, and it'll select the right one for me every time. But basically, I want it to heal each of them once, so that they have the same amount of HP. Tackle 9, that's good, it's a waste of a turn. It really doesn't matter who they attack to any real degree here. I'm going to be super duper careful and persistence glitch Ming here again so that she doesn't die. But even if she did die, it's not really a big deal. Because I only need to throw 2 bombs next turn, so I only really need 1 person alive. But she might have some items that she wants to learn, and I honestly can't remember what I equipped on her, but she might have had the anti-poison accessory or something on, so I can learn it later, but I may as well learn it now while I still have a chance. Alright, so they're both down pretty low health. This guy will get healed after this point, and they'll both be at pretty much exactly the same amount of health, and they're within 2 bombs of being killed each. And there you go, it's a good thing I did Ming. Where I've got to be super careful about menuing, because if I fail, if I like defend or something when I'm not supposed to defend on this next one, then it's game over. All I should have to do is hold A, but I'm going to be like super careful about it to make sure. Alright, without too much of a break, there's going to be another boss fight coming up, which is Magic Beast B, which I would normally introduce him as the real version of the boss that I fought on Disc 3, which is Magic Beast A, and they are basically exactly the same boss, except this one's a lot tougher, and like he doesn't have a cheese out mechanic like the first one does. But I didn't use the cheese out mechanic because I needed the money from that boss, so we sort of get to see 2 real versions of this upcoming boss. I think I've already done all of my menuing because I've got to change some items around just so I can learn some more abilities. I'm sort of getting to the point now where I think everyone's learned what they need to learn for the final boss fight, but I'll have to just jump into the menu and double check that they're all okay. Why didn't he get... Okay, I'm not gonna I'm not going to split hairs over that, but they should have learned both of those from that fight. Shouldn't make any difference. I'll be able to learn them off this fight, but I don't know why they didn't learn that. This fight's meant to give you 10 SP. Otherwise it should be fine. The only bad thing that might come of that is that I might have to actually equip one of those accessories onto one of my immortals on the final boss fight, rather than just having it learned and equipped. Ideally, I like to have it learned on everyone, and the safety strat is just to have the items themselves ready to go.
Thanks.
Alright, so this is sort of the first fight in a while where I actually use physical attacks. I'll be starting to use all these power drinks that I made ages and ages and ages ago in the run. I'm going to use Seth to throw the items because her speed gets to such a high point at this part of the game that she actually starts outspeeding items. So she won't be able to throw that thing on herself. Sorry, she will get an attack off before power drink lands, so her attack won't do all that much damage. The casters will just be casting Grounder, no particular reason, it's just a decent amount of damage. Making sure that, yeah, he's fine. So, what am I missing? Seth and Ming is going to throw the power drinks on Zed. And he can attack. So I want to get power drinks on all of my main attackers, like my physical attackers. And this is where I wish I was, a little bit more awake, because I would be getting a few more perfects here and dealing a little bit more damage and making the fight go a bit faster, but I'm a little bit out of it, so...
How much of a difference does that make to your damage?
It's actually a fair bit. It's probably another 25 to 30% increase, like from a good to a perfect.
Wow.
So if I get a perfect, it'll actually bump it up by a fair bit. I'm not sure what Seth's one was before, but this was about 1300 and now it's doing about 1900. So that might be more like 50% increase. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, physical attacks are really important at the very start of the game, and really important at the end of the game. In fact, the fact that you can sort of stick together a decent physical attack team just with enough money is something that's pretty important, because the final, or the first boss of the final boss rush is basically, as far as the speedrun is concerned, it's completely immune to all magic. You can do some witchcraft to deal some damage, magic damage to it, but it's just not worth it. So you need to actually get a full-on physical attack team going for one of the final bosses. And yeah, so as a result of needing to do that, you can also grab the items that you need on a little bit earlier so that you can use it on this fight and speed it up, so you don't have to rely on getting good gambles on this fight. And fortunately, this guy's a beast, so the dinosaur rings that I used for the boss fight that I just mentioned will work on this guy as well, so you can deal some decent damage. He's just been building up an attack called Flare Core. Flare Core is a nasty bit of work, but I've got Persistence and I've got Sed with a fireproof band on, so it won't be a huge deal, but you might want to keep an eye on exactly how much damage this does to Sarah and Ming, who have less than 1,000 health. It's pretty full on. And they were in the back row with a little bit of GC too, so that's not quite the full extent of that spell. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't have to worry about healing or anything like that. I don't have to worry about doing this, persistence glitching anyone. It all works out pretty well. Fortunately, all the things I need to learn at the moment, as far as I can tell, are oh, dude, I've got to. I'll have to cast Force then. Yeah, it's all sort of near the start, so it's mostly okay. hopefully within a couple of turns he should be dead before he does any real damage. I wouldn't be able to really deal with... I could probably deal with another Flare Core, but it's sort of at this point where you just want to finish off the fight. Because now I've got to Persistence Switch Kine and Seth, and they actually have things on that I need to learn. So I'd really like to finish them off right now would be perfect.
Yeah.
So that I don't have to fumble around in menus quite as much as I would otherwise have to. And that is the last boss before the final boss rush. There's a little bit of running around and stuff I've got to do before we get there, but we're probably about half an hour away from the finish, and I'm really worried that I'm going to go over estimate. I'm not sure what my time is at the moment. Okay, we're definitely going over estimate, I'm sorry.
Happens. I mean, we've had other games go under estimate.
Okay.
So, I mean,
Cool.
yeah, the shift has been pretty negligible. I think originally we were looking at a 3 o'clock finale on the Sunday, and now we're looking at about a 3:20 finale or something. After
Okay.
all of the overs and unders have balanced out. Oh yeah, which I think
Yeah.
we've resolved now too.
Well, actually, isn't this the
Oh,
first run?
sorry,
I don't
sorry,
want to
sorry,
say anything, but I'm gonna take a punt here and say that eight and a quarter hours into a run, we could probably say that nothing's going to happen technical-wise. Is this going to be the first run, if that happens? Ah, okay. It would have been hilarious if the 8.5 hour run was the first one that didn't have any tech issues.
Yeah, Lightning Returns didn't, and was that the first one though? Yeah.
I think the first full one, yeah.
Yeah, I mean the second, or a good hunk of what came before Lightning Returns did. But oh, okay. It was the first run without problems on our side.
Right. Okay, so Jansen, this is like a storyline fight. Jansen can save a couple of frames here if he kills anyone, because I won't have to hit defend on them. But he would have to kill Seth next turn by casting anything but Flare on her. But it really doesn't matter. It's just when you've got no control over anything, you want to see a couple of frames saved. Now that'd be anything but Flare on Seth, because Seth is still immune to fire. And he did wind on Seth on the first turn, which was a good sign, but he didn't want to finish her off. He tried to kill us. It wouldn't have made any difference that time though, because I've hit all the defense I need to.
So what's actually happening in this trippy cutscene? Because I've never made it this far in the game.
Basically, you get to. It's been a while since I've played through for the story, but my recollection is that you're chasing Gongora through all of these grand stuff that he's basically flying around and causing havoc with, and you reach him at the top, and then he just wrecks you with this crazy spell. Because basically, he's still an immortal. So. Yes, but I don't think he actually cast the original one. It is a meteor impact though, which is basically the same thing. You did a very good job, sir. All right, one more escape section. I really love the escape music, by the way. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I hate that. It's like I know what this is. I can't remember what I remember it from. Speedrun strats. You can get like 2 steps in before the dialogue box comes up there. Gotta save those frames.
Reminds me a bit of escaping the Mako reactor in FF7, but I don't think that's what it's actually reminding me of.
And sort of the visuals and the countdown and all that sort of stuff. It sort of has the same sort of vibe to it, but I think the music's a little bit different. I honestly can't think of that off the top of my head though. Yeah, yes, it's a little bit annoying. It's sort of drowned out, but don't even pay attention to it anymore. Yeah, that's handy. It'd be nice if it froze during battles. Yeah.
Or trying to get onto ladders.
He's got persistence. He'll survive the fall for sure.
Yeah, why doesn't
Only
he
with
just
1
jump-
HP, but
Why doesn't he just
jump all
to
the way down.
Yeah.
He'll survive with 1 HP.
I mean, for any non-immortals, you can just revive them.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, that should be fine. But no, they're too wimpy. They don't want to do that. Yeah, but quite possibly.
Unlike Yuna, they cannot fly.
You know what? I really have to thank you, Relkin. I might not have noticed that beep on every second, being so
Until you
tired, but for you mentioning it.
I've done a really good job of tuning that out for the last 20 or 50 runs. Now all of a sudden I'm hearing every single one.
I have selective hearing. I'm not really hearing it now anyway.
You know, I'm not hearing it during this fight at all.
Sorry? Can't thank you enough.
I can feel the love in this room. Yeah, just do it.
Dude, it's like twice his actual height.
So it could have been a 12-foot fall.
You got to remember, like on disc 3, Kime spent an inordinate amount of time pushing boxes, which he very easily could have climbed over. He's not a very efficient person, this dude. Yeah. Another weird, non-skippable cutscene here. This is one that really looks like you can skip it, but you can't. Yeah. It's just a...
That is going to be good.
You went playing Lost Odyssey.
We'll be safety saving here shortly, but we'll do all the shopping and stuff we need to do first. Yeah, we're definitely not going into the last fight without a safety save. There actually is a checkpoint there which we can use, but unfortunately it will make the checkpoint now, and I'm about to go and do all my shopping and do all my setup and stuff, and then if I was to go into the fight and then die, I'd go back out and I would go back to the point before I'd done all that stuff. So. But given how tired I am, if you guys want to help me and make sure that I save when I'm right in that exact same spot, I would be very grateful. Spud, please save.
You know what you should do, Spud? You should save after you do all of your shopping.
Yes, I reckon that's a great idea. I should totally do that.
But I think that it would be prudent for you to save.
Yes,
Yeah,
it'd be a pretty good idea.
You should also do all your
Dude,
equips.
I've spawned a bunch of PSXs. PSX is a regular in my stream, and you guys are saying exactly what he would say in this situation. Streamer, please.
Well, there's a little bit of a delay on the IRC, so we're just being your stream monsters.
Yeah.
Providing a valuable service for you.
Yes.
And the value is 0.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's able to be valued.
Alright, so all I need for this final fight is lots and lots and lots of bombs. I'm going to try and get 22 of each if I can. Hopefully I've got enough. Going to be a tiny bit short, but that's fine. I might have some that I can sell still. Just double check really quickly. No, that's going to be fine though. It's pretty much luck depending on what... I need to get like some of each element because the final boss changes elements every turn, so... I've got to basically have a full complement of them that I can basically choose the right element of. So I'm only going to end up using about a quarter of those bombs anyway, so it'll just be a matter of luck whether or not I get, you know, so many water elements that I've got to use fire. No.